You've landed on the Lonely Diplomat podcast, and wherever you are in the world, welcome. I'm Phil McAuliffe, and I'm the Lonely Diplomat, and you're joining me for episode 46 of this podcast. And I can't believe it that it's already the 18th of December. And this year, 2021, has at once flown by and also been an absolute crawl. And this episode is all about how we can stop for just a few moments and reflect on our 2021s. And for those of you who have been following the Lonely Diplomat and following me and my work for more over 3 years now, or any period of time, longer than 2021, you'll know that each Christmas season, each festive season towards the end of the year, we do a review year. So go back through the catalogue and you can find it all at thelonelydiplomat.com, on the blog, on the podcast, doing essentially this review exercise and about what we can learn, and me sharing some of my insights from that year just gone. And just in case you don't know anything about thelonelydiplomat.com, my website, as I said, there's my blog, this podcast, details of my services that I offer diplomats and those who live the diplomatic life. And all my services, including my one-on-one mentoring services, where you can get me in your corner, are designed to serve, support, challenge, and inspire you as you lead your diplomatic life. I'm just going to press pause here and I don't know if you can hear that, but as I'm recording this, you can only control so much of your environment. I don't know if you can hear that or if that was just an awkward pause, but there's a family of Australian magpies outside the window here. And yes, there's a baby magpie demanding to be fed. And it's very cute, but also not at all conducive to the good recording of the podcast. But there we are. I can only control so much. So a little touch of Canberra suburban nature here for you, wherever you are in the world. Coming back to my services through thelonelydiplomat.com. Blog, podcast, and my book. So if you are looking for a gift to give a certain special diplomat or someone who lives the diplomatic life, jump on to my website, thelonelydiplomat.com, or head to amazon.com and you can send them an ebook version of my book, The Lonely Diplomat, Reconnecting with Yourself and the World Around You. Available through Amazon, as I said, in ebook, or if you think you can get it to them in time, a hard copy, soft cover hard copy book, like an old-fashioned book. And that's something that, all of that is available through, I'm sorry, my mind has been scattered by the cuteness outside this window, trying very hard to be professional and erudite and all that kind of stuff, but here we are. So anyway, all of that, thelonelydiplomat.com, and it's a pleasure, an absolute privilege and an honor to be here doing this work to help you as you live your diplomatic life. And part of that is going to be doing this exercise that I've got for you in this episode. And we're going to be reflecting a little bit on 2021. And for me, this year, really quickly, has been a year of Well, it's been a year of change and finding a new normal. So back in January, which seems at once about 3 minutes ago and also 3 decades ago, my partner Jeff and I returned to Canberra from New Zealand, and my partner Jeff, he travelled with me. He moved with me to Canberra, and we went about setting up our house here in the Australian capital. And I went back to my paid employment. And Jeff, as a graduate architect, he looked for a job and in June started a job after getting settled in here at a fantastic architecture firm in Canberra. And also in April, our children returned from New Zealand, and it was simply lovely to have everyone back here. And we went about, all of us, in our very modern rainbow family, setting up what it means to be family. And it was lovely. It was absolutely lovely and just wonderful to experience that. And I don't know if you've had to do this, if you've blended a family or had a new partner come into your life and your family's life after a separation, and yeah, I don't know if there's any kind of rule book for it, but we've been making things up really, and between all of us, all parties involved, we've been working our way through what it means to create a family. And so that's also included, children settling into a new school, making friends, and me returning back to the office, as well as doing coaching work with my friend, coach and mentor, Mike Campbell, as part of his business in the Everyday Legends Academy. And that's involved running a mastermind for up to 25 men. And then my work here at the Lonely Diplomat, so writing and recording podcasts, and doing mentoring calls for you, members of my awesome global audience, and also really beginning to find my feet with the other loneliness work that I do at The Loneliness Guy, which is thelonelinessguy.com, which, if The Lonely Diplomat is for diplomats and those who live the diplomatic life, The Loneliness Guy is for gay men, and where it's all about destigmatizing loneliness and promoting authentic connection for gay men globally. So it's fair to say that there's a bit on. My evenings and weekends are generally pretty full, and there's awful lot of stuff going on in terms of writing and recording, and taking time to generate all the content. So it's funny though, like what gets our attention when it doesn't feel like work. And when it comes from within, and it doesn't come from obligation. And that for me has been a huge lesson for me, that the things that fill my soul, that nourish my soul, could, be called work in a conventional sense, but they also nourish me. And it's actually, I'm tremendously grateful for that. And then all, through this year, and here in the Australian Capital Territory, we went into a COVID lockdown in mid-August. and then everything was done at home. So 4 of us in this house, 2 students, 2 people working, and it was a lockdown which at once was just wonderful because things were simple, but also quite scary, and knowing that, and particularly here in Canberra, places like supermarkets were and schools were points of transmission. And I was the only person at that time in this household vaccinated. And I was the one who, it was safer for me to go to the supermarket and be amongst other people. And the stress, and this is in, my home city, where I knew how things worked. I knew how a supermarket worked. I could operate in my native language, in my mother tongue. The stress of going out and being with other people. And while, if I was to contract COVID, it was apparently, going to be a milder version, but that I could bring it back into this household and affect and infect other people. That was a tremendous stress. All at the same time while doing a full-time job and needing to carry on doing what I was doing during the working days. And it was difficult. It was difficult, and it makes me wonder that. Not makes me wonder, but I know that has been a common thread for so many of you. Indeed, probably every one of you, wherever you're listening in the world, to an extent, a great extent, a lesser extent, but to an extent, how COVID has affected and continues to affect your day-to-day life and how you do your work. And in October, the ACT came out of lockdown, and I'm actually recording this in early November, so I don't really know how things go until December. But life is starting to get back to whatever is passing for the new normal here. That's, in a very broad nutshell, my year. And it's been characterized by being home and setting things up once again in a new place where we're living. At this point, I want to invite you to go and get a pen and paper and press pause as you get that, and then unpause it. Rather than me sitting here silently, unpause it when you're ready to start. So by now you've got a pen and paper, and because I've got a few questions that I want to ask you, and these questions are designed to help you reflect on your 2021 and to prompt some, I guess, introspection and to really take some time to stop and assess your 2021, the highs, the lows of the year that has been. So with your pen, I invite you to write down these questions. And the first question: what were your achievements? / what are you proud of? The second question: how did they make you feel? So they being your achievements. How have you grown is the third question. The fourth question: what are you grateful for in 2021? What can you learn from all of those things that have helped you grow and for which you're grateful? What can you learn from them? The sixth question. What could be done better? What could be improved upon, or what are your areas of growth? Now, this is an exercise. That's all the questions. This is an exercise that Mike Campbell shares every year with the participants in his program, and it's awesome to share it with you in this way. And I guess, you know, if your social media feed is anything like mine, it's probably awash with similar kind of questions. And if not yet, it will be soon, particularly in that space coming up to New Year. And there's a clue about why this is important, because New Year is often a time where we set intentions, we make resolutions for how we are going to approach life in that new year. And look, cynically, many of those probably don't make the first week. So this is an exercise to really target you. And so you actually pause and reflect on the year that was before we begin to set intentions for the year to come. Because if we don't know where we've been and what we've been doing, then how are we going to know the direction that we want to go? And so when we want to set intentions for 2022, we need to get really specific. And we can get that kind of specificity with the help of 2021. So that's an exercise that I really invite you to do. Pour yourself a cup of something nice and warming. Pour yourself something that, you know, really helps you get settled and focused, and write it down. Don't think it. Please don't think it, because there's enough going on in your awesome head right now. Write it down, really, and you know, get a nice, you know, a nice pen and nice notepad, and really make an event of it. Because this is something that's important, and we really don't give ourselves much time, especially at this time of year, to pause and reflect. That's really it for this episode, and I hope that this exercise is helpful for you. And please let me know if you've got any feedback for me, and particularly on this episode or any of the other 45 episodes of the Lonely Diplomat podcast that's in the catalogue. And you can send me an email to admin@thelonelydiplomat.com. And you can also reach out to me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And it's always an privilege and it just brings me so much joy to hear how this podcast, or my words through my blog or my book, reach you and affect you where you are. And with all of that, with all of that said, I do want to say thank you so very much for being here through 2021. And many of you listeners to the podcast also read my blog, and I want you to know how much I appreciate it. I see you. I thank you for being here and letting me be a part of your life. So for now, I want to wish you, if you do celebrate Christmas, I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas, and to each and every one of you, a safe, happy, and prosperous 2022. I'll see you next year. Oh, that's now time. Again, this went well. The magpie is outside my window again, and I forgot that how I normally say is that it's, you know, with the plane taking off and stuff like that. So a bit anticlimactic there. And if you've made it this far, I hope you've just gotten a bit of a laugh. But it does sound like you're getting ready to go at long last. Well, you know, not like long last, but I just need to wrap this up. does sound like you're getting ready to go. So until next time, until 2022, be awesomely and humanly you, because the world really does need more you, and the magpies outside. Needs a lot more of the magpies outside.